Hi, beautiful mamas. Welcome back to Pearls of Motherhood, the podcast where we turn chaos into clarity and everyday moments into meaningful lessons. I'm your host, Tessie.
And I'm Diana. And today we are talking about the topic that is going to set some moms free. The episode is called Your Kids Aren't Broken, Your Routine Might Be.
Yeah, so honestly, if you've ever said, "What is wrong with my kid?"
Every day.
We totally feel you. I definitely have that one that I'm like, what is wrong with him? Why? Why is he doing that? But here's the twist. Sometimes the issue isn't your kid's personality or their temperament or even your parenting vibe. Sometimes it's the routine.
Yeah, in motherhood, we tend to jump straight into that self blame or the kid blame, but routines shape behavior more than we realize. There was actually a study of over 2,000 preschoolers that found kids with more consistent daily routines had fewer emotional and behavioral challenges overall. So it's not magic, it's just that predictability helps their nervous system stay steady.
Yes. Kids, they're not tiny adults. They're tiny humans, that's for sure. But like definitely not anywhere near adults. And they can't like flex and pivot the way that we do. And they need rhythm, predictability, and the structure to feel safe. Even the free spirited, wild little kids, like they need that.
And here is a mom fact. Little kids don't have a fully developed prefrontal cortex like we talked about in the past. The prefrontal cortex is basically the CEO of the brain. It's the part that helps you make good decisions, stay calm, and think before you act. So when a routine is rushed or it's unpredictable or chaotic, though their bodies actually go into a stress response. One study showed that when routines fall apart, kids' cortisol, their stress hormone, rises instead of falling like it's supposed to. That means their behavior isn't naughty, it's actually dysregulation.
Yeah, I've actually heard that like the prefrontal cortex isn't even fully developed until what we're in our 20s,
Yep,
like our mid 20s.
yep, yep.
So, like for us to even expect for any child, even a teenager, even a young adult to be able to function, I mean, it's like, but who knows that? You know what I mean? Like that's not common knowledge, I don't think.
It is now that we're spreading it.
Yeah, and like moms, they sit there and end up like blaming themselves, blaming their kid, thinking, "Oh my gosh, something is wrong with my child." You know, like what is going on? Why are they like this? But maybe like it's just the morning routine is too tight. Maybe the bedtime routine is just too chaos. And maybe the transitions just need more support
Mm-hmm.
instead of just jumping from one to the next. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but like when my kids are playing or if they're doing a task or something, and then I come in and I'm like, okay, time to go get in the bath or time to do this. And I don't give like that time where there's like a transition where they, okay, 5 more minutes and then we're gonna go do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like total chaos. If I come in and I just like give a demand and immediately expect them to just finish what they're doing and move to the next one like a robot almost, it's like so much more
Yeah,
chaotic. They're like, no, they can't handle it and
yeah.
they fight it and they immediately say no. But like when you come in and you're like, 2 more minutes and we're going to do this. And even if it's like 30 seconds later and you're like, okay, 2 minutes is up. Like,
Because they can't really tell time yet. So let's leverage that, right?
the younger they are, the so much easier they are to manipulate. But like just adding that little teeny little gap can make all the difference.
Yeah. Prefacing something, because how many of us as adults do well when something suddenly changes? I know I don't.
Hmm.
Me personally, I don't do well. I like to know what's coming. And if we expect that from adults, why can't we do that for our kids? Because honestly, sometimes there's just no time. I honestly,
Yeah.
for me, I do that because I've run out of time. I am,
Necessity.
yeah, I am like
Yeah.
literally 15 minutes late already trying to get out the door.
Yeah,
15 is
or I'm
generous.
just impatient. I'm just like, you kids are moving too slow. I mean, I wanted you in the bath like when I started saying the sentence and you're not
Yep.
jumping.
Yep.
Like, I
Exactly.
have this like expectation of my kids that they just should be like little robots doing every demand that I say, like the second I say it.
Mhm.
And I get like super frustrated if they even whine, if they complain, or if they say no, or if they're like, I don't want to. And it's like so hard for me to remember that they're individuals.
Mhm.
They're not like my little robots that I'm just bossing around. Like, but that's my expectation of children. Like, you should be seen and not heard. Like, go get in the bath. Get out of my house. You're in here too long. Go outside and play.
Right? But I mean, that's where it all comes from, right? We have these expectations and then our expectations aren't met. And that's where some of that dysregulation comes in, right?
Yeah, totally. So like just a little bit of a story time. I had a week where every single morning felt like we were like competing on some kind of extreme parenting reality show.
Oh God.
I feel like that's every
Oh
morning,
yeah.
like
Mhm.
especially early, tears, yelling, and it's always the morning where you have to be somewhere at a certain time. Am I right?
Oh yes.
Like those are the hardest mornings. What is that? There's like shoes missing, like backpacks, you can't find them. There's just like total chaos in the whole
A
house
missing
the entire
child.
morning. Missing child, like they're like whining and
Hmm.
crying. And it's just like you get to the point where you're like, I am failing as a mother. Like, why are my kids like this? I'm sure everybody else's kids are perfect in the morning except for mine.
Hmm. Yeah. Yep.
It turns out actually it's not the kids that are the problem, right?
Mhm.
It's the rushed morning routine. I mean, who actually, when you think about it, what adult operates like well when you're being, I do not operate well when I'm being rushed.
Nope. Nope.
We're trying to do too much in too little of a time. Our kids can't handle that. I can't handle that when someone's doing that to me. I get really cranky.
Yeah.
So it's like, no wonder.
Hmm. And the things that sometimes these routines they break slowly. Like I had a phase where bedtime. Now I'm not the best bedtime parent. I will admit that. It took an hour and a half. Every night I thought she was being dramatic and stalling and refusing, but honestly it was she was overstimulated with zoomies. She loves getting her zoomies on and the
What's a
screen a
zoomie?
zoomie. It's it's when she's tired and all of a sudden she gets really hyper.
Mm.
So she knows it's her way of waking herself up. So my daughter's very in tune with her body, which is great, but not great because she also knows how to manipulate it. She knows that if she runs around and jumps around and screams, that she has extra adrenaline running through her and she wakes up more. So those are her zoomies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she is overstimulated from all the zoomies, also screen time. Oh my gosh. So, and I wasn't giving her any transition time. I just said, okay, time to turn off the screens. That's it. We're going to bed. Time to brush your teeth. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that was so bad, so bad. So here's the thing. In 2024, there was a study that followed almost 3,000 toddlers, and they found that kids with consistent bedtime routines ended up with significantly better emotional regulation. And those routines predicted fewer behavioral problems in later years. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Oh
I
my
decided
gosh.
to embrace this. So I started to preface things. I started to, start dimming the lights and quieting things down, turning off the screens, and kind of like just setting the mood for things are going to get quiet now. And bedtimes are so much better now. It's not the hour and a half. It's more like 20, 30 minutes, which to me is better.
For a whole entire bedtime routine, that's not bad at all. But like I can tell you that just like anecdotally, I could totally believe that study too,
Mhm.
because my kids, like I've noticed, obviously as our house has gotten crazier and our lives have gotten busier, we used to do every night really good bedtime routine, bath, story or whatever,
Mhm.
um, and dim the lights and all that. But like now, sometimes we're coming home from dinner and it's like we have to get five kids like bathed and in their pajamas and have a snack and get some water and have like a quiet time. And that doesn't like that's not possible every single night.
I-
But you can tell the nights that you do it versus the nights you don't, they go so much smoother.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. I've always wondered this. How do you bathe 5 children at once? Do you like hose them down? Like, what do you do?
Well, luckily I have like a lot of boys. So I have a massive bathtub in my master bathroom actually that they all fit in. And I'll take my daughter in the shower with me,
Mhm.
and they'll go into the bathtub, and basically like we just do it all at once, like
Smart.
we don't it would just take forever if we didn't do it that way.
In my head, because I only have one, do it one at a time because I only have one. But
Yeah.
I don't. I was wondering what do you do? Do you just take them outside and hose them down? I mean, what do you do? In my head, that's what I was
Sometimes
thinking.
I do a version of that where it's like, all right, everybody line up and start getting undressed. We're going to get you in the shower. I'm washing your hair. You're getting out. The next one goes in. Like sometimes I do it that way. And we just like have them in a line in and out, and we work together as a team
Wow.
and get them dressed. And it's just like over time, you know how you get better at things
Mhm.
as time goes on. Like I was just talking to someone this morning that it is so much easier having 5 kids than it was having 2,
Huh?
because like it was just like
What?
two was so hard because, well, at this point, the older kids get older and they can actually help you, right? Or they're more independent. So
Mm.
you can actually only have so many little kids at one time, and you can never have more than that. So like I think like the cutoff is probably like 3 or 4, depending on how fast you have them.
Mhm.
But like past that, you're never gonna have more than 3 or 4 little kids.
Because they
So
age
yeah, the
out.
more you
They age out.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the more you have, like the older ones
Oh.
can help. You're never going to have more than like 3 or 4 little ones. And so once you've done that once, you could do that again. Like you could just continue to do it. It's like becomes your life.
Mhm.
So, when people are like saying, oh, yeah, having like way more like 6, 7, 8 kids is easier than 2, it's true, especially depending on the age. Like
Mhm.
I'm talking like 2 toddlers.
Yeah.
That's not easy. Well, not like 2 8-year-olds. I bet that's pretty easy, but
I
I don't know.
because I'm coming off a couple of weeks of having 2 toddlers, a 3-year-old and a year and a half, and I'm just like, I
That's
don't
torture.
I was
That's
like,
pure torture.
"Mm-mm, mm-mm, this is bananas. I can't do this. I am not cut out for this.
Yeah.
Mother Nature only gave me 1 child for a reason."
Yeah. No, that's like, honestly feel like that's like the hardest is 2. Once you can get past that, and if you can handle 3 or 4 little ones at once, you could have as many as you want, because like that's the worst it's going to get for you. It's only going to get easier from there. Trust me.
You know from experience, right?
I know from experience.
Anyway, so now
Yeah.
that we've digressed to bedtime routines and all that stuff and bathing 5 kids at once. So let's go back to the why routines change the behavior. And the reason is because they regulate the nervous system. Kids actually feel safer when they know what's coming next. That checks for me.
Who doesn't, right?
The
I
fear of the
hate the unknown.
yeah, the fear of the
Yeah.
unknown, or it's the quote unquote the devil you know. How many
I
times?
mean, like, think about all these adults who won't even take one risk in their life because they're so afraid of, like, they don't know how it's going to end up,
Yeah,
which is kind of a sad life to live when you think about it. But like, adults are like that.
yeah.
50-year-olds are like that.
Hmm.
Why would we not think our kids? It's probably even worse for them.
Yeah, because they don't get it, right?
Yeah.
So there was a big study on family routines, and they found that kids with stable routines had better emotional regulation because their stress hormones stayed steadier throughout the day.
I really feel like you can feel that as a mother. Their stress hormones are like when you keep it, because some
Mhm.
days like I'm not perfect. Some days are better than others. Some days are really good on our routine, and other days are like total crap.
Mhm.
But you really can feel like the vibration of your kids and their stress based on like their routine during the day.
Mhm.
So like it is like a well-designed routine is like scaffolding. Like it catches the overwhelm before it turns into a meltdown.
That's such a
Because then you're just like on to the next routine
yeah.
before you can have like a breakdown, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, that is such a great analogy. And look, it's not about perfection. We always say that. It's not about perfection. This
Mhm.
is about alignment. And there's research showing that routines built around developmental needs, not adult conveniences, actually lead to more cooperation and less conflict. So, right?
That is so funny because that reminds me before when I was the perfect parent,
Mm-hmm.
before I had kids,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, absolutely, I am not going to change my life for my kids. They are going to join my family and join my life and just like fit in and meld into what I am already
Yep.
doing.
Mm-hmm. I thought the
Yeah.
same thing. I thought, oh, well, my traveling, she's a little sponge. She'll be fine. I'll just carry her
Mhm.
and she'll be totally happy. And no, she's not a stuffed animal. You can't just stick her under your arm and carry her. She makes noise, a lot of noise. She has needs. And guess what? My whole life revolves around that kid. So you have to ask yourself,
Yeah.
are your routines aligned with what your kids can handle or or are they more aligned with what you wish they could handle?
Really good point. It's definitely something to think about. So if you're like a mom out there struggling with chaos or you just feel like your kids are just constantly like what is going on with them and you just feel like you can't get a grasp on it, maybe it's your routine. Maybe it's definitely something to think about. What does your day look like? And when my kids were little, I literally had it written down. I think I've talked about this
Mm-hmm.
before. Like I was so neurotic. I had a schedule. I'm like snack at 10:30, bottles here, this is lunch, this is nap, snack again. You know what I mean? And like, but if you have to do that to regain your sanity and to like start, even if this isn't something that you're naturally good at, not everybody is naturally good at that.
Mm-hmm.
Like start with just writing it down and see if you can stick with it, even if it's just half a day one day and like baby steps.
Yeah, 100%. Try something. It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
do you want to go through the 5 routine red flags that we should watch for? Shall we switch off on
Yeah.
it?
Okay.
Okay. Can I go
Yeah. Let's
first?
do it.
Okay.
Sure.
So, number one, your mornings feel like crisis management. So, there's evidence that rushed mornings raise cortisol for hours in the day. So, if your mornings
Whoa.
feel explosive, it's usually a sign the pace is too fast.
Wow. That actually makes sense.
Mm,
And like that's not good for anybody.
no.
Cortisol,
Mm-mm,
that's really bad for you.
mm-mm.
All right. So number 2, transitions trigger meltdowns. So if that's happening, sudden changes, they need structure and warning. You can't just like we talked about just walk in and just be like, "All right, time to do this."
Yeah. And there's research on kids transitioning into new classrooms actually show their cortisol level spikes during abrupt routine changes. So your kid isn't, being dramatic. It's their body is reacting to what's going on around them.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
All
crazy.
right, number 3. Bedtime takes forever or ends in tears. Your tears.
My tears, usually how it goes, mine.
Our tears, not theirs. Yeah, kids need stimulations to drop by about 50% in the whole entire hour before bed. So that came out of a sleep routine study that showed kids with calmer wind downs fell asleep faster and stayed asleep longer.
That.
And you know what? Speaking of that, that reminds me of that study that you sent me one time where they were saying that like children whose mothers sing to them. Do you remember that
Yes, I
study?
do. Yep.
Yeah. And what do they fall asleep like 40% faster?
Yep. Lullabies.
It's their mother's voice.
Yep.
It's their mother's voice, though. It
Hmm.
can't just be anything. It has to be, and maybe add that in because I do notice that whenever I sing to my kids, it calms them down.
I notice that because, as I've mentioned before, I co-sleep with my daughter, and when she is irritable at night, you know that she's having a nightmare. I'm there, so I comfort her. I say, "It's okay, baby. Mama's here. I got you," and she immediately calms down.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Well, the same
Interesting.
thing when my husband's with her, and he says it. He says it. It doesn't work for me. She wakes up and goes, "Where's mommy?"
Well, it's like, okay, so this is really crazy. Like, they know our voice before they're even born. They're with us 24/7. They're constantly hearing us talk and nag. Like I'm the nag. But my baby, he's only 5 months old, and there's a song that I always sing to my kids before bed, but I always would do that while he was in utero, and he recognized it as small as like 2 months old. Like when I
Wow.
would start singing it to him, he would look at me and smile.
Wow.
Yeah, he recognized it.
So funny thing, my mom used to sing this Chinese lullaby. At least she would hum the tune all the time. My mom, all when we were growing up, she was always humming a tune somewhere in the kitchen, whatever she's doing.
Interesting.
And I notice that in times of stress, when I am trying to cope with something, it's my mom humming in the back of my head that calms me down. I realized that I was like, oh,
Wow.
that helps. So I think it really does stick
Wow.
with you because you know your mother's voice.
Yeah, and, like, my kids will hear a song in a restaurant or something, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's the song we listen to in the car,"
Mhm.
because there's certain songs where we all like it and we blast it,
Uh-huh.
and we all listen to it in the car. And, like, they recognize it.
Wow.
It's, like, part of who they are.
Mhm. I believe it.
Alright, so this one is, like, huge, I think, for a lot of moms, especially with multiples, and it will drive you nuts. Siblings fighting more than usual is definitely often a sign that the daily rhythm is off.
Yeah. A study on
Makes
family
sense.
routines found that predictable structure actually reduces sibling conflict because kids feel more emotionally safe. Do you find that's true with your kids? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Well, you know that whole thing, like, idle hands, what is that saying? I don't remember exactly, but
Idle
what is
hands
that?
makes for the devil's playground. I don't know. That's it's
Oh,
something really
yes,
dark.
maybe
I don't
that's what
know.
it is. I'm always thinking of dark things when it comes to my kids. Like, they pushed me to that level.
You know how in the earlier in the episode you were like, "Oh yeah, kids are humans." In the back of my head, I was like, I can disagree with that a lot of times in my head.
Are they demons or humans?
Little monsters. Hmm.
No kidding.
So what about idle
Yeah.
hands?
Oh, I just feel like, there's like not everybody's going to agree with me on this, but like my kid, like I feel like the more just free time that they have, not like structured, even if it's structured play, but like just like free time where they can just they I don't know, it just seems like they fight more. They don't know what to do with themselves, after a certain point. Like they can all do their imaginative play for a while and they're getting along and all of this, but then also, what I've also found is that if you don't give them a snack by a certain time, like as long as there's food around, there's way less fighting. Like they're pretty happy.
They get hangry. I get that. I mean, I always have to ask myself, why am I irritable? Am I hungry or do I need to use a bathroom? It's usually both, honestly. I get that.
Yeah. So I'm like actually a huge proponent of like they need structured activity that creates discipline,
Mhm.
self-control, discipline and structure. I think that's huge for kids. They can have like obviously their free play and stuff like that, but I do feel like the more that they have of that where they're kind of like doing the show of what they're doing their whole day,
Mhm.
it causes problems.
Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 5, your kid seems clingy or defiant. So, clinginess is often a regulation cue of, I don't know what's coming, so please stay close. And
Mm.
routine inconsistency is one of the biggest predictors of clinginess. So, I can completely attest to this. My daughter, so, it's been really busy in my household lately, and I've had to be on the phone making phone calls, talking to people because, I have to function as an adult. And she hates that. She hates it when I'm on the phone. And what is the first thing that she does? She is mom, 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 all over the place while I'm on the phone talking to another adult about an adult matter. And she is right there next to me. She is so clingy. She's trying to knock the phone out of my hand. And I am just, so getting really
Mm.
frustrated. And it's because I think because she hears the conversation and she doesn't quite understand it because it's an adult matter, right? We're talking about, taxes because it's tax season right now. And she doesn't understand what's going on. And so she stays even more clingy because she's trying to understand what's going on. But once I get off the
Mhm.
phone, she could care less about me. Like, really? Seriously?
Of course.
Thank you.
She's like competing. When I think of clinginess, I think of like at the park, how like some kids don't want to stray from their mom. They
Mhm.
kind of want to stay close. And like they want to stay in their lap, or when they go out to the library,
Mhm.
they don't really want to like go and participate. And actually, when you think about this, you know how I'm like obviously like a very rigid, regimental mother. And I have never had like my kids have never been clingy. And maybe it's because they have each other,
Mhm.
but like when I think about at least at the park, so it would make perfect sense what it just said about
Yeah.
the study, because I'm like super regimented, and my kids definitely, I would never call them clingy. I would not ever describe my kids as clingy.
Mine is
Pain in the butt sometimes, but like not
that too.
clingy.
That one too. Yeah, but I mean, when I think of it that way, when I step back and go, okay, why is she being so defiant? She's not being
Yeah.
defiant. It actually humanizes her to me, and I go, oh, she's not being bad. She just is nervous. She's scared. And when I think back to when I was a kid, I was like that too. I was so clingy with my mother because I didn't
Yeah.
know what was next sometimes, and that humanizes it and makes me go, okay, let's take a step back for a second. She's not being bad. She's just
Yeah.
scared. Okay.
And if you think about it, like her mom being on the phone all the time is not a normal thing. So
Yeah.
she's like, why is this happening and how is this going to affect me? They probably wonder that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is something that's different, and like how is this going to affect me? Because I'm sure that kids have gone through that and they recognize like, okay, something happened and like all of a sudden there was like something different in my life, and then so whenever there's like another thing that's like different, they're like, what's coming
Yeah, that's you're
potentially.
totally right. You're totally right. And I have to remember that. And it's so hard to in the moment sometimes. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. You're just like, "Be quiet.
Yeah.
I'm on the phone.
Yep.
Get out of my lap. Stop moving."
Don't play by the stairs. Why are you playing by the stairs? You know you're not supposed to.
Yep. Yes. Okay. So let's talk like solutions, like how to fix a routine that's failing you. If you feel this way, if you are going through this right now, like we're all about empowerment, not guilt.
Yeah.
So like what can we do to take back the power?
Yeah.
So, tip one, we can add predictability. Use visual schedules. Like I said, write it down.
Mhm.
I love that. I'm all about that. Verbal countdowns, like, okay, 30 seconds. Or just like simple routines like first we XYZ and then we XYZ
Yeah.
or whatever.
That's right. So, tip number 2, create transition buffers. So, there's this concept called bridging in child development research. And kids need a small ritual to bridge between activities, and it actually keeps cortisol levels steady. A few examples is like a cleanup song to help from
Mm,
moving from playtime to snack time, or a special handshake or a hug to transition between home to daycare, or even story time to help transition from screen time to bedtime. You want to know what I do? I do
what?
a timer. I tell her 5 minutes. And do I really
Mm.
set it for 5 minutes? Not all the time. I
Yeah.
can still trick her sometimes, right?
Timers are the best,
Yep,
aren't
and she
they?
loves them. She's totally okay
Yeah.
with it. I'll
Mhm.
say, okay, when the timer goes off, we're gonna stop doing this and we're gonna go do this. And she goes, okay. The timer goes off. She goes, okay, bye bye, and then she goes off and does it. Or if I say, okay, 5 more minutes on screen time, and when that time is up, I'll say, okay, say goodbye to iPad, and she'll go, okay, bye iPad, and walk away.
So much easier when there's a timer that they like actually want to comply versus, okay, time to turn the TV off and go to bed or
Mhm.
whatever, and then they're like, no, just one more episode, just one more episode. Like,
Mhm.
it's just like they turn into crack fiends with the TV and the iPad. I swear. It's like, oh my god, you guys have addict brains right now. Like I'm taking the cord.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's a dopamine surge. That's what it is, and it's addictive. That's what it
It
is.
is
It
terrible.
is.
Like, I could tell the difference for sure. It's like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are literally crackheads right now. Back up."
Yep, right?
But, like, the timer, that's a lifesaver. I'm with you on that
I
one.
love
That's
that one.
really incredible.
Mhm.
Yeah. So and my husband, he does a timer, and at the end, it's not like just a jingle, it's like an actual song. And so then they all dance to it, and it's,
That's
like, way
so
more
cute.
fun. Yeah.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah, and the cleanup
Oh, yeah.
song is huge, especially for I feel like 3 and below,
Mhm.
they love that. It's like makes it fun for them, you know?
Well, it's all about making things fun. It's so much easier to
Mhm.
make things happen when it's actually fun.
I know, especially for kids, that's all they wanna do is goof around and play all day. So,
Mhm.
like, any way that you can make things seem like it's a game or like it's fun, I think you're gonna get way more buy-in, and that's really what you need at the end of the day is buy-in because you can't control another human being ever, not even a kid.
It's the whole thing with Dale Carnegie. What's in it for me? Right?
Mm. Yeah, exactly. And you have to figure out because especially if you have multiple kids, like they all want what's in it for me to be different.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to figure that out and fine tune that for each kid.
Yep.
This is like so funny. Okay, this is just like a little squirrel story of mine, but my husband, okay, so from my boys were like kept fighting and like hitting each other and hurting each other. And so I was like, all right, that's it. Like whoever hurts their brother, that brother is going to get a chocolate candy, like the one that gets hurt, you know? my, my husband's like, you do realize that like they're just going to start hurting each other so they can get candies. And I'm like, okay, never mind. That was a terrible idea. Scratch that idea. And then my 4-year-old came up to me like a month later and was like, he hurt me. Do I get a chocolate?
What? Their
I was like, no,
memories.
I already scratched. Yes,
Their
it's
memories
it's
are
incredible.
incredible.
Yeah. All right. So tip number 3, slow the pace by 10%. Like seriously, just 10%. Kids need margin. So an example, it's almost time to go. So pick one more thing to do. And I do this a lot at the park. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
we got to go. Go down the slide one more time
Yep.
or climb the rock one more time. You know, they actually really it relate they like go with that. They're
Yeah.
cool with that. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Daniel Tiger. So we do that all the time. And she'll go, one more thing, mom, one more thing. And I go, okay.
Mhm.
So go pick her one thing. And that helps. I also learned by slowing the pace when I tell her something. I have to count to 10 before I follow up with anything else because she needs that time to process. So if I tell her
Mm.
to go pick something up, I have to count to 10 before I say anything because I read that when you give too many commands in a row, it's resetting them every single time. So if you only wait 5 seconds, they still have another 5 seconds where they need to process something and you're restarting the whole process over again. So that's so frustrating. So I
Oh
actually
my
stop and I give
gosh.
her a command and I stop, count to 10, slow 10. And
Mhm.
it actually works. Not all the time, but because sometimes she just doesn't want to, but it actually it decreases that screaming in my head that's going, move faster, move faster.
That is hilarious because I do that to my kids all the time. I'm like, give them like 5 things to do in a row. And my husband's always like, you got to take it, you got to slow it down. Because I'll do that to him. And he's like, one thing at a time, one thing at a
I
time.
do that too. My husband always loves to go, where are you rushing to? I'm like, oh yeah,
Nowhere.
nowhere. To fold the laundry? No, no. Good
That's
point.
funny.
Okay, tip number 4, build connection points. So, short bursts of connections actually regulate kids for hours. Researchers call them micro connections, and it's like 30 seconds of closeness can actually stabilize their nervous system. So, for example, you do a mini check in during when there's a morning routine that's chaotic. You can say, I see you're upset. Let's just take 3 deep breaths together or verbally acknowledging, hey, I see you working so hard on that tower, you're doing a great job. And those quick little check-ins actually build connections. They know that they're still on your mind, and that can actually get them to be less clingy.
Oh, yeah. I bet it's even as simple as just being like, say their name and then just be like, I love you,
Yeah.
or like, you're awesome. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're mine. I do that to mine. I'm
Oh, I
so
love
glad you're
that.
mine.
I love that. Oh, I
Yeah.
tell my daughter, I go, hey honey, and she'll go, yeah. I'm like, I love you. She goes, okay. Walks away. I'm like, hmm. Okay, that made me feel good.
Okay, that's her. That's how she says I love you. That's
Mm-hmm.
just her
Yeah.
way.
Well, she did. Okay, so this one made me melt a little bit. So I had my nephew here for a couple weeks, and she goes, in our quiet time, me and her, she goes, mommy, it's hard to share someone you love. And I'm like, I said, and of course I ruined the moment. I go, so you love me? She goes, no. But inside, I was like, oh, I'll remember that one.
I'm like, okay, that just reminds me of like my kids will be sitting there eating like super healthy meal, and I'm like, who wants a cookie after dinner? And then they're like, all they can think about is a cookie, and I'm like, why did I say that? I'm always like beating myself up, like I'm such ADD.
Slow it down.
I need to wait till after. Yeah,
slow it down.
That's funny. Okay, so tip number 5. Audit overstimulation. So, like screens, noise, sugar, rushing, all shown in studies to increase dysregulation.
I believe it.
Probably for adults too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly.
That's a good one for me to remember, huh? For myself.
The rushing. It's like, come on, hurry up. Come on.
Okay. So here comes a spicy truth. If your routine is built around chronic mom burnout, everything just trickles down, right? There's a study that found that when families slow their pace of the household by just 10 to 15%, kids had fewer behavioral outbursts within 2 weeks.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Say it louder for the moms in the back.
So if you, mom, are dysregulated, you're rushing, you're exhausted, you're multitasking nonstop, your kids are going to mirror that. And okay, we're not blaming, we're just bringing awareness. So if you tweak your routine, your sleep, your pace, your emotional regulation, your kids calibrate to that energy.
100%. Like I say this in like kindergarten terms. I'm like, they're like picking up on my vibrations. Like I'm like so crazy and they're like crazy. And so that's like putting that in like actual intelligent conversational words.
Sort of, kind of.
It's fascinating though that it's actually true.
Yeah. It's nuts. So basically if they're just a version of us. They're just our mini us. And if we bring it down just a few notches, they will too. And that's so true because the more hysterical I get, I know my daughter gets even more hysterical. She'll match me and go beyond me.
Especially girls.
Is your girl like that?
Yeah, probably. Like she's pretty chill though. I feel like in a lot of ways, I feel like she's the easiest because I don't know if it's because she's a girl, but she's just so independent, and it could be her birth order. It could be because she has all these older brothers, and she's just very independent. We're the leaders of our house, of our family, of our kids, and like they are going to model whatever we're leading them, and they're going to be like picking up on all of that. So we really should keep that in mind, I think.
Yeah. And again, it's not about perfection. It's about being present. And it's about, coming back and trying to make ourselves better. We are never about perfection because we are not perfect. And it's okay if we're not either.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, what we do want to do is we want to grow. We want to be better mothers. The best that we can be. We're not going to be perfect. But if we do notice, like, let's like stop and think here for a minute. What's going on? Take a step back. If you're in like, when you're like in the tornado, like you can't like see the forest beyond the trees, or whatever they say. So like sometimes when you're like in the midst of it, it's hard to see until you take a step back, evaluate the situation, being like, okay, what could potentially be going wrong here? And maybe like try to problem solve. Like you don't have to be perfect. Obviously nobody is, but it's like a good way to start.
Yeah.
Trying.
100% agree.
Yeah. Okay, mama. So let's drop the pearls.
Let's take turns on this one. Do you want to do the first one?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Pearl number 1, your child's behavior is communication. It's not defiance.
That's a good one. Pearl number 2, a routine isn't rigid. It's supportive structure.
Pearl number 3, if everything feels hard, check the transitions.
Oh, yeah. Pearl number 4, connection is the best regulation tool.
Pearl number 5, you're not failing. Your routine might just need a tune-up.
Pearl number 6, behavior improves when routines improve.
And pearl number 7, when you regulate your rhythm, your kids regulate theirs.
Yeah.
And our bonus pearl, your kids aren't broken. They're growing, learning, adjusting, and so are you, and so are we, and so are all of us.
Yes. Oh, I love those. All right. So, do you want to get into some listener mail?
Yes.
So, this one comes from Alyssa in Chicago, Illinois. And she writes, as a stay at home mom, people assume I have endless time to create perfect routines. Your episode about people thinking we don't work made me feel so seen. Last month, I felt like everything was falling apart: bedtime battles, power struggles, tantrums. I kept blaming myself. Then I remember something you said: kids thrive on structure, not perfection. I shifted our mornings and added 2 small rituals, and suddenly everything felt smoother. It wasn't my kids that were off, it was the rhythm. So thank you for teaching me that systems matter. Oh, Alyssa, that's so wonderful. We're so glad that worked for you.
Yeah, right?
It's just the small things that make such a big difference. Okay, so if you love today's episode, send it to a mama friend who is drowning in morning chaos or bedtime battles.
Follow us on Instagram at POMcasts for more real talk and tools. And don't forget to subscribe. New episodes drop every week.
See you next time. You're doing better than you think.
Bye.
Bye.